Hello, hello.
Hey there, how are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing
Nice.
good. What's your day like?
I've just been working from home on my computer, so I work remotely on Wednesdays and Fridays, so
Oh, that's good.
yeah.
So where is home?
Waltham is where my parents live. Sometimes I stay there overnight.
Yeah.
So like last night I did, so I'm here for the day. But I live in an apartment with my friend in Framingham, so it's not too far
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. So that's not bad. Birmingham isn't far from one thing,
Exactly.
you know.
And you? Are you in Watertown or where?
I'm in Belmont.
Oh, Belmont, Belmont. Very nice.
Yeah.
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 You grow up in
No, I'm originally from New York and New Jersey.
Okay. What parts?
Uh the Bronx,
Okay.
Queens, and Fort Lee, New
Okay.
Jersey. And I came here a while back to go to school, and then I just decided to stay. It kind of became home.
Yeah, very
But
nice.
I'm not a Yankees fan,
Yeah, that's good.
and I don't think I have it. I think I lost my accent for a
Okay.
while.
I noticed a little bit of an accent, but not
Yeah,
much.
yeah, like it. Certain words creep in.
Yeah.
But I was just there. I was just in Brooklyn over the weekend, and it's very easy to slide back into talking a certain way.
Yeah.
But then I just start laughing when I hear their. I just start laughing because it just sounds funny to me, like coffee and
Yeah.
chocolate and Long Island and sausage on my pizza. And, uh, it just cracks me up. And then they laugh because they hear me say a couple. Like I'll get into a real heavy Boston accent with them,
Yeah.
right? So it's just funny.
Yeah.
So are you originally from around here? Or?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Waltham, so I'm like I know the area obviously, and then I went to college in Framingham, so I know that area.
You know that. Yeah.
Yeah. But my dad was born and raised in Waltham, and same with his dad. But my dad's mom is from Nova Scotia, and then my mom is from Venezuela. Uh,
Yeah.
so I have
Yeah.
relatives all over. So
Yeah, you do. You
yeah,
do.
and my brother, he actually he's living in New York nowadays in the Bronx. He's going to medical school there.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah.
That's really cool. Did he? He's going to medical school. Okay, so he's
Yeah.
not into like internal residency or anything yet.
Well, he's been like living there pretty much for the past 4 years. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's really cool.
yeah, he loves New York.
They love it. Once you're there, you can't. It's one of the greatest cities I think in the world.
Exactly.
There's
There's
always so much going on, and they're way ahead in trends and ideas about everything. You know,
literally everything. And then also, like, for transportation, it's so much more convenient over there
it
than
is.
compared to Boston. Like,
It is.
Boston, it's horrible compared.
The transportation is good,
Yeah.
but right now, every restaurant, every place you go there, you have to show proof of COVID and an ID. And when I was there, I wanted to get I ordered a cappuccino, and then wanted to know if I wanted almond milk or if I wanted oat milk. Oat milk. And I thought, oh, for God's sakes, no place is gonna have us. No place. They're too hip. They're too cool. They're too woke. They're not gonna have. And I felt like saying, well, the almond and the oat, which one has the teats? Because I'm sorry, because it's not milk. It's almond juice or almond or oatmeal juice. It's like, so I thought I'll have the almond.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's fair.
Whip that up and make a cappuccino. I thought it's like God forbid you drink milk, you're savage. You are just you're a barbarian, right? And
Exactly.
I thought this is a cappuccino, you know. But then you're gonna serve. But then the irony is you're serving waffles with whipped cream.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, you're using cream. You
Yeah.
know, could I have some of that whipped cream in my coffee, or is that verboten? So it's just it's too cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's way too cool. Way too low. Way too cool.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, my friend who's originally from Brooklyn, he just moved back to Brooklyn over the pandemic, but he hasn't been living there for a number of years. But when he moved out there, then his younger brother decided to join too over time, and yeah, there's a lot to do there. So
Yeah, and it's the cost of living is high.
mm-hmm.
It's expensive. But I did notice, I was surprised that there are, not everything is that high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when I was staying there was a really cool bodega convenient shop where you can get a coffee for like $1.25. Right next to it was a fancy kind of coffee house
Mm-hmm.
where their coffee was like $4, and I thought there's no difference.
Yeah.
They're, a matter of fact, when I watched them make it, they used something that looked like instant coffee, and I thought, why? That's $4. So I'll just go right next door and have it for $1.25.
Exactly.
So not everything is so high.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think rents are high.
Yeah.
But things can be reasonable.
Exactly. There's so many different kinds of places to go to and so many different kinds of things to do that you can like pick and choose what's more affordable out there.
You can. And so many different restaurants, so many different venues, so much entertainment, so much. It's like everything.
And then also like it's not only like people always hyper focus on those big cities, like there's also lots of other parts of New York that are significantly cheaper. Like my cousin, her and her boyfriend just moved out to upstate New York. They got a house out there, and it's very cheap out there.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is. I think there's an allure about being in the city.
mm-hmm.
There's an allure, and in growing up, I used to be in Manhattan a lot. And I think for me, what I liked about this area, I came here for a weekend, and I just decided to stay, and I was just going to go to school. It reminded me of New York in a way, but on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have that rush of people. It wasn't maddening. It wasn't like when you go to a mall, every day was like Christmas, where you can't park. Traffic is never as bad as that New York traffic, never. And even if you complain about it, I feel like saying, oh my God, you don't know what it's like when cars don't move and you sit there for an hour because they don't move.
Exactly.
It's not like you're just going slow and there's traffic. So, and this area became home. I like it. And when I go back there, even though I enjoy it and I have fun, I think, I don't want to live here. You know, I would, because it's too many people. It's too enclosed. It's too, it's like people are out at midnight, 2 a.m. It's very crowded. And I thought, you can drive into Boston at midnight or 2, and it's empty.
Yeah.
It's empty. And a lot depends what you get used to and what you like. And I don't want all that stuff in my face. I don't want to be. I like it quiet sometimes. So I like my alone time where I don't want to walk outside and just be smelling garbage a lot. So.
Exactly. It's interesting how that is like Boston. It's like during the day it's pretty packed, but then like late at night, it's empty. Like even Providence, the times I've been to Providence at night, there's still people out, like still people out driving and everything. But in Boston, it's just dead late at night, which is nice.
I guess a lot of bars and places close at 2, and Also, a lot of transportation stops at that time.
Exactly.
So if bars or pubs or restaurants want to stay open later, you're also going to need transportation to be open later. And it's not something that this area seems to want to do, or, and there's a few places, like if you go to Chinatown, and there's some places that are open late at night if you want to eat something, or, but it's different. It's like you start, like in that area, you might start your night at 9 or 10. Here you're starting your night about 7.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just a different, I had to get used to that. And when I first moved here, it was almost like impossible to find anybody to deliver pizza. And I was in Cambridge, and I'm thinking, what is that about?
Exactly.
So but you adapt, you get used to it, and I like it. I really do. It comes home, and you get used to it.
It's like a different culture state by state. Like I notice, it's like an early time that everything closes in Massachusetts, but like New York, even like Florida and a lot of those southern states stay out
Yeah,
very, very late.
and Connecticut and New
Mm-hmm.
Jersey, and it's like you can go to a diner at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. You can go shopping. You want to go to Walmart.
But then there's
But, yeah, I don't have a need to do that.
exactly. But then there's also other states that even close earlier than Massachusetts, like Vermont, Maine, and certain other
Yeah.
places. So I
Yeah,
feel Massachusetts might be the right medium.
There's not a big population that wants to hang out or party a lot.
Exactly.
And then going to New Hampshire to me feels like I just went to another country. Like I just went to,
It's very different.
Like, I'm sorry, I don't get what's going on here. And,
Yeah.
it's like people brag how they actually brag about they're real men because they won't have a COVID. They don't get vaxxed. And I'm thinking, you're like doing Darwin's theory in real time.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm watching history. It's. And I mean, I'm not gonna say. I have nothing to say. It's like, okay.
But you also see how strange those people are in living in the middle of nowhere in New Hampshire or Maine, and then you kind of understand why they think that way. So
Yeah, and but I also think it's a mental, like they think they're strong. We're all strong. We all feel that.
yeah.
A lot of people don't have underlying conditions. Or you don't know you have one.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe, at a certain age, you gotta take it a little more seriously. You can't be messing around, especially if you're really overweight or you're older or.
Which is a lot of the country overweight. It's like I think 40% of the country.
Yeah, and that's what gets you. I mean, somehow that's what kind of because COVID turns into pneumonia, and you just don't recover. But my thought is, look, it's here, it's in society. If you're vaxxed and you're boosted, even after I was vaccinated, I did get COVID, but it was very mild. And it will just be endemic in society. It's just here. It's like the way so many people die of the flu every year. So many people die of COVID. And I've been washing my hands before it was trendy. So we have to learn how to live with it.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that is I believe people should be vaccinated. That's my belief. And over time, you may get it, and you're just building up more and more antibodies. You'll be okay. You're going to be okay. And the people who won't be okay are people who are more vulnerable, and that's just going to be how it is. But I think you can move on with your life.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
don't have to be so
I got COVID at the very beginning of the pandemic, March 2020, and it
Oh,
was
that is the beginning.
yeah, and it was horrible. One of the worst sicknesses I've ever gotten. But
Wow.
that was a big reason why I got vaccinated.
Yeah, so you're gonna have like you're gonna have double immunities. You're gonna have like a lot of antibodies.
Yeah, yeah.
And people say, I've spoken to a lot of young people who, like my daughter was vaccinated. She works in a hospital, and she was boosted, but she got COVID. She, but it was more of a lot of congestion and a headache. There was no fever. If anything, she would describe it as like having a bad cold. She was mildly sick. Obviously, you can't, she had to isolate and this kind of thing. And, she got some pretty bad headaches, but it's not going to kill you. It's not, but that was early for you to get it in March, because that's when things started to close. That's when things started to.
Exactly.
Right?
It was the week that they made the restaurants in Massachusetts
Shut
takeout
down.
only.
Their takeout only things shut down.
Yeah.
I remember it was that weekend of the 15th and the 16th.
Yeah,
I remember typically.
I went on a plane to Florida that week because I was thinking that I could work fully remotely for my job at the time there, but then I found out that I had to actually go in once a week, so I had to return. But there was no mask mandate just yet. I think it was a couple weeks after that they made the mask mandate. But while I was there in Florida, like I went out, I went clubbing with friends.
Yeah.
And then after clubbing, I was sick for about 10 days. And 3 out of the 10 days, I felt like I could barely breathe and like I
Oh
didn't
my
have my
God.
sense of smell. And
That's horrible.
yeah, it was.
And you know what it is? I think it wipes you out. I mean, people talk about the fatigue, the tiredness. Um, like when I got the second shot, I got real sick, and I was so dumb. It was like I had the shot in the morning, and that night I don't feel good. I had a bit of a fever, and everything hurts. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's wrong with me? It didn't dawn on me it was a reaction to that. It was a very strong reaction. When I got the booster, I was afraid I'd have a strong reaction. I did have a reaction, but it wasn't that strong. It was bearable. But
Yeah. For me, the first two shots weren't bad at all. I barely felt it, but the booster is where I felt horrible for one day, which was
yeah, it
interesting.
lasted about a day and a half, where I felt it was a tiredness. But also with the tiredness, it was a weakness. It was almost as if I just want to drink water, maybe have a Motrin, and go to sleep. And I don't want to get up. I'm too tired to even get up. I don't want to get up.
Exactly.
I don't want to move. But then I knew it was the booster, and I knew that part of me thought, well, this is good because I'm really reacting to it, and your body's making these antibodies. I try to look at it positively in that way. But right now, so many people, almost everybody I know in their family, somebody has Omicron, but they're not very sick here because they were vaccinated. They didn't even know they had COVID. They have no symptoms, or sometimes such mild symptoms. So I thought, well, it's good, because we're just building up our immunities to this. Right?
I think it's gonna be a thing where it's just like the flu with the winters. Like the winters is where people will have to be more vigilant and aware.
Yes, I think you're right. The same way we always get colds in the winter.
Mm-hmm.
You get a cold, and because everything's enclosed and indoors, and germs spread like that, and there's no ventilation. And,
Except I think this is something where, like, the flu, like, you can kind of debate whether or not to get the flu vaccine or not
yeah,
versus COVID.
vaccine.
COVID
Yeah,
vaccine, it's better idea to get.
exactly. And the flu vaccine is only 45% effective.
Mm-hmm.
That's the strange thing. You can still get a flu. You can
Mm-hmm.
still get another flu. It's not where this COVID is in the 90%
Mm-hmm.
or something like that effective. So it is iffy. It, you know, I work with the elderly, so I got all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I can still get the flu.
Mm-hmm.
And then the past year, it's so funny. Well, it's not really funny, but I blow my nose, I sneeze, my eyes burn. Turns out I have allergies.
Oh wow.
So, sometime I might sneeze once a day,
Mm-hmm.
but it's strange if you're out with friends and you're blowing your nose and you just want to say, no, truly it's allergies. I'm not sick. But any minute I'm just going to sneeze. But it's things where my eyes feel itchy and burning, and my nose. I just spend time blowing my nose, and I'm thinking, where is this? Like, what the heck? And I don't. All I could think of is I have to have an allergy because my bed has my comforter is like a lot of feathers.
Mm-hmm.
The pillow is feathers. Maybe it's feathers. It's dust. I don't know. I don't know what else.
Or detergent or
Detergent,
yeah.
right? And I can only take the. So I was trying different medicines, so I finally saw a doctor, and he said, try Allegra. Allegra will be better.
Mm-hmm.
But you can only take one a day. So I kind of wait. I didn't take it yet. I kind of wait later in the day because if I take it too early, my symptoms come back later at night, and I'm thinking, I'm keep blowing my. Gotta carry tissues.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kind of, because it says on it, only take one a day.
Mm-hmm.
Thinking, Mom, like, how come? Like, what happens if you take two? Like, what does it do to you? But I'm not. I can't complain about an allergy. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people who. People have things so much worse.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what we get? We get living in a first world country. We get a little spoiled by things.
Exactly. It's
Right.
very different here compared to other places.
Yeah, like we get upset when our pizza's a little cold.
Mm-hmm.
At least we can eat.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking here, everybody is like glucose intolerant. Everybody, and I'm thinking nobody's like that in third world country.
Nobody.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? They're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna eat your food, and it's here.
And on top of it, like, if they do have food in other countries, it's not like clean food like here. Like my mother, she's from Venezuela, and she's gotten a tapeworm when she was younger, and like
That's right.
it's very, very unsanitary in other countries.
Yeah, and also a lot of our foods have been, and this has been happening for a long, like breads and things. They're fortified with extra vitamins, extra things that I don't think people are aware of.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm very aware of like when I'm complaining about a first world problem, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I say to myself, "Oh, shut up," and then other times I think, "Oh, this is how you live. This is what you're used to. So you want to vent about it. You vent a little bit, and then you let it go. Not big. It's not big, catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
Catastrophe at all. In that way, if I wake up and nothing hurts, and I'm having a good day. Work is good, or I see so I'm happy.
Exactly.
I'm grateful. I'm happy. It's like,
And the funny thing too is, it feels like during the pandemic people would be more appreciative of life and stuff like that. But I feel
yeah,
everyone's been getting the opposite. They've actually been getting worse with their outlooks on life and interacting with others. And
yeah. It made people very angry.
mm-hmm.
I think it made people very, very angry, the isolation. And you would see it with how they drive, or you would see it in different ways. And some people, I think, were more appreciative or went out of their way or a little nicer. But a lot of the population was just very angry because it's not natural or normal to be so isolated from other people.
Yeah. And then on top of it, kind of the only kind of interaction you're relying on is like the media, which can make people worse in different ways.
Exactly. And you hear the same things over and over. It's like it's a brainwash, it gets into your head. So I decided I wasn't paying. What I did was I might watch or listen to NPR just for a half hour. Just give me the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep drilling. I don't want to hear this thing over and over and over because I don't think it's healthy. I think you just do your life. And during that whole lockdown period, and it was just so awful, a girlfriend of mine said to me, "You have to be more in touch with your introverted self." And I thought, oh, I'm not an introvert. Like, how do you do that? She says, you should take a drive and walk around Mount Auburn Cemetery because it's a beautiful cemetery to walk around in Cambridge. And you should go bird watching. And I thought, And I said, well, what if the first thing that pops into my head when you're kind of extroverted is you've got to turn to somebody and say, did you just see what I saw? Or you have to say, I'm not seeing anything. Like, I have to communicate. I can't see something that might be so beautiful and keep it to myself, or I can't see something that's nothing and I want to turn to somebody and go, gee, this is kind of disappointing. What do you think? And I thought, get in touch with my introverted self. And I thought, that's just so weird. So I started to I did a lot of things like Zoom things online. Like I had a lot of classes and book groups and lectures and dance classes, and that was fun. And then I got into some writing. I got more into reading. And then a lot of people I know who are more introverted, it was not difficult at all for them to be. I think they liked it in the sense they didn't feel a pressure to have to make small talk, or they didn't feel a certain pressure to run into some people. And I kind of felt envious that they didn't have that, because I talk to strangers. I'm like, I'm used just a little connection like that. It's fine with me. And I remember thinking, how do you do that? Like, you're just like you're in your head all the time. But it's just a different. We're all different, and we all have something to offer. And
I think it's more so practice. Like there's different. Like I've done a personality test. I don't know if you know the Myers-Briggs test.
Yes, I did that.
And mine is ESTJ. But the more specific version of it, the more detailed version, I got like 51% extrovert and 49% introvert, which was very interesting.
It is interesting.
But with that being said, I notice and I look back at different parts of my life in different times that sometimes I was more extrovert than other times, or vice versa. But what made the difference is the different environments or what I was doing in my life at the time,
Yes.
which caused me to either be more extrovert or more introvert. Which earlier in the pandemic, because like towards that first few month period where no
Yeah.
one was able to really go out much, I had to, and by chance, a month before the pandemic started, several friends I happened to cut off uh, that were typically my hiking buddies. So
Oh,
starting
okay.
in the pandemic, when there wasn't much to do, uh, I went out by myself hiking, and that was really the first time of me ever doing that. And it felt so strange just going out in the woods all
Yeah,
alone,
all
and kind of
along.
like what you were saying, like not really anyone else to be there with to admire, openly, vocally admire
Yeah.
that. But at first it was very strange, awkward. I didn't know how to go about it. But then over time I got just completely adjusted to it, and that's what I did a lot throughout the pandemic,
That's
is
really
go alone.
so. Maybe it's kind of like giving yourself a chance doing that.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's like
just
pushing yourself,
and then
pushing your boundaries, pushing
You
your
end up adapting,
boundaries.
and you can discover other things that you didn't.
Exactly. So I think my point is that if you push the boundaries of something that you may not feel comfortable with, you could eventually end up getting adjusted and comfortable with. So like with that, I ended up eventually getting comfortable with being alone like that. Versus other times, let's say a more so introverted person, or a situation where, I don't know, maybe I'm in a new workplace and at
Hmm.
first I feel awkward and not want
Yeah,
to
yeah,
interact with many people. But if I push myself to start interacting with the coworkers, and then I get a good kind of connection with them,
yeah.
then I'll
Ex-
feel comfortable and love it. So it all depends on what boundaries you
it
push.
does. It does. How do you, aside from, how do you view yourself?
Uh,
Like, would
like,
yeah,
am I in?
like,
Sorry.
yeah. Like, how do you, aside from taking the Myers Briggs?
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't know if I was extra. I was surprised that I was more extroverted.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I'm. It's not like I'm shy. It's that I don't mind being around people
Mm-hmm.
and just listening to what they have to say. Just listening.
Mm-hmm.
And then other times, I'm part of the conversation and I'm joining it. But did you view yourself as extroverted? Did you view yourself as, or was it something you just didn't think about? You never thought about?
I saw um, all those results as quite accurate for me, including the extrovert introvert of me being on the border. Because from what I look at myself throughout my life, or at least the past number of years, is I am able to, let's say, be on the computer all day by myself, not interact with anyone one day, but then 1 or 2 days later, I need to interact
Need.
with friends or whoever else.
Yeah.
So it's like very, it's very balanced. Like I need one and the other, but it doesn't really matter like exactly when it is. It could be a whole day without people, and then the whole
Yes.
next day with a lot of people, and then like that. But I need both in my life.
Yeah, that's how I found it. That's why, because I like my alone time,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel comfortable with that. And then there are times that I need to see my friends or talk to them, or I can be very lively and very. So I think it's a more balanced thing. I'm not. I'm probably a little more extroverted in the sense that people rejuvenate me.
Mm-hmm.
When seeing people or interacting, I feel a little more alive, and I think that's what makes the difference. Then, for me to I don't know, to do something just by myself. It's fun. I like it. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it. Does it bring out the best in me? No.
Mm-hmm. I think another thing too is You can kind of get the answer to that question by looking at the culture in the US. You see places like New York, Boston, and other places that are very populated, like the
Uh-huh.
cities, and see
Yes.
how the people seem kind of unfriendly in those cities.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh, and that may be that they're getting too much extroverted stimulation. Versus like in all those southern areas where there's not many people or small towns, they seem to be typically nicer and more
They
welcoming
are.
and want
They
to
are.
interact. But that's probably because they're lacking extrovert kind of
I think so.
situations.
I think so. And I've noticed when you drive from this area and you're driving south, the friendlier and friendlier people get.
Hmm. So I think it's really that with humans, if they get the right in between amount, then they'll that's really what they need, and then they'll be just an average kind of friendliness. I think if
I
they have too much or too little, it's not good.
I think you're right. I think you're right. So because sometimes New Yorkers are very friendly because
Hmm.
they're used to living with tons of people and they're adapting and this and that, and then sometimes they turn themselves off because it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
It's too many people, and like when I first came to Massachusetts, I had to get used to it because I found people to be a little more clannish,
Mm-hmm.
not very open, not very friendly, and like you almost had to wait for somebody in their group of friends to die so you can get into that group. So a lot of my friends were from Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey. Uh, I wouldn't say Massachusetts has a lot of warm, friendly people in
I
it.
agree. I I notice a huge difference between whenever I've gone to interact with people in even just Rhode Island or Connecticut or New Hampshire. Just very, very different from here.
It
Um,
is. It is. And I don't know what makes it that way.
I'm trying to think what could make it that way as well. I'm not really sure. I think it's.
Usually people stick to their own kind.
Mm-hmm.
They're like if you're Asian, you have Asian friends. If
Mm-hmm.
you're Armenian, you stick with all your Armenian people. If you, and it's very hard to kind of break into that group of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like I don't know if people get set in their ways or they don't have a need or a desire to. They're not the outsider.
Mm-hmm.
I was the outsider, and um, it's not very welcoming.
Exactly.
It's not very warm and very welcoming. It's more, and if anything, even a little bit. They're a little more suspicious. So
Yeah.
so, but that changed me in the sense that I found that I've become that way now too. I'm not so warm or welcome. Like I'll turn my back, or I'll walk away, or I don't say hi, or I don't respond, or I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just kind of adapted to how you're supposed to be here. And
I
every now
also.
and then I have to break out of that. I should still be who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then if you don't get some feedback that's positive, you wonder, well, then why am I going to bother?
Mm-hmm. I also wonder if it's. I can't really think of what may be the answer, but I'm guessing it may just be um, an unspoken rule in Massachusetts on like their culture. You just don't
Yeah.
really open up to people or interact with people, and then you get so adjusted to it because nobody else is being open and interacting with people. Um, versus like, I think that's more so accepted in Rhode Island and those
I
other
think you're
states
right.
around
Yeah.
us. Uh,
Yeah, I think it's just it goes back to hundreds of years ago when Massachusetts, the North was Yankees.
mm-hmm.
It's a Yankee mentality. It's this, like, we're very self-sufficient and we don't need other people, and we're very rugged, and we take care of ourselves on our own, and we're very independent. And it could be some of that. I don't know.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a very good question because I find it very interesting how somehow the states surrounding us, including New York, which is same but different from Massachusetts, are very different in that regard.
Yeah. And I think maybe it's because people are forced to live closer, or a lot of people in New York have always been new to New York. They're new to New York.
Yeah,
So
that is a
it's
good point.
it's I find it friendlier.
Mm-hmm.
Even though obviously, there's a thing in New York. You walk fast, you talk fast, you walk by something, you don't, you kind of like have your blinders on. You can do that too. And then usually you have a certain kind of like quick sarcasm. Like, I remember having that, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not working too good here. Don't do that, you know. But there was like a quick kind of sarcasm, or a quick kind of way. Everything was quick. You talk quick, you walk fast. You 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 make things happen. You just you're not waiting for somebody else to make it happen. And
I think what it is that New York, it's like very business oriented in the sense of life. Like you go, you get your stuff done. But if you're like stopping at a coffee shop after work or whatever, just to then relax after work, then you're interacting with people like the person making your coffee, a friend you meet there, this, that, or whatever. Versus in like it seems as if like they could potentially be a little rude in that sense, but it's because they're getting stuff done and their
I
life
think so.
done, going to work,
And it's
work.
different. It's different. It's not known. It's not in the South, they're known for their warmth and friendliness. So I think a lot of people feel, oh, it's part of my culture, so I'm going to be warm and friendly. Yeah, and they adapt to that, and it's been put into them that that's how you act. Where those kind of words were never used around here. So you might be more industrious. You might be studying hard. You might be focused in on taking care of things, and so it's just different. It's just different, and I mean that's what makes it fun when you travel, right? Because you get to see. I mean, people are people, but they can respond and act differently.
Exactly.
Right, so it's good. But I need to head into. I've got a meeting. I have to go Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I have to head out too. Yeah, perfect.
It was good talking to you.
Yes, I'll see you later today at 5.
Yeah, that would be cool.
All right, perfect.
Okay, take care.
It was nice speaking to you. See you then.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.